shoot hot bolts into you, Tanya. I make your ovaries incandescent. Your Sylvester is a little jealous now. He feels something, does he? He feels the remnants of my big prick. I have set the shores a little wider. I have ironed out the wrinkles. After me, you could take on stallions, bulls, rams, drakes, St. Bernards. You could stuff toads, bats, lizards up to your rectum. Or up your rectum. What? Lizards up your rectum? I guess he's fucked her vagina and rectum so much that they're big and floppy. Like, you could shit arpeggios. Which is, what's an arpeggio? Come on, Henry Miller. You could shit arpeggios if you like, or string a zither across your navel. I'm fucking you, Tanya, so that you'll stay fucked. And if you are afraid of being fucked publicly, then I'll fuck you privately. I will tear off a few hairs from your cunt and paste them on Boris's chin. I will bite into your clitoris and spit out 2 franc pieces. What? This was banned. Henry Miller's Tropic of Cancer. His book was banned until 1964. Supreme Court, June 22nd, 1964, says, no, you can't ban his book. It's not pornography. It's literature. So, but it had been banned for 27 years prior to then. So that would be, what, 37? So since 1937, for 27 years, he was 70 years old when America eventually allowed him to print his book. He had to wait nearly three fucking decades, right? More quotes from Tropic of Cancer. In the lavatory, I stand before the bowl with a tremendous erection. It seems light and heavy at the same time, like a piece of lead with wings on it. And while I'm standing there like that 2 cunts sail in Americans, and while I'm standing there like the 2 cunts sail in Americans, I greet them cordially, prick in hand. They give me a wink and pass on. In the vestibule, as I'm buttoning my fly, I notice one of them waiting for her friend to come out of the can. The music is still playing, and maybe Mona will be coming to fetch me, or Borowski with his golden knobbed cane. But I'm in her arms now, and she has a hold of me, and I don't care who comes or what happens. We wriggle into the cabinet, and there I stand her up, slap up against the wall, and I try to get it into her, but it won't work. And so we sit down on the seat and try it that way, but it won't work either. No matter how we try it won't work. And all the while she's got a hold of my prick. She's clutching it like a lifesaver, but it's no use. We're too hot, too eager. The music is still playing, so we waltz out of the cabinet into the vestibule again, and as we're dancing there in the shit house, I come all over her beautiful gown, and she's sore as hell about it. I stumble back to the table, and there's Borowski with his ruddy face and Mona with her disapproving eye, and Borowski says, let's all go to Brussels tomorrow. And we agree. And when we get back to the hotel, I vomit all over the place, in the bed, in the wash bowl, over the suits and gowns, and the galoshes and canes and the notebooks I never touched, and the manuscripts cold and dead. What the fuck? What the fuck? What? Henry Miller? Is that his name? Yeah, Henry Miller. All right, Henry Miller. 3 more quick little quotes. Words are loneliness. I have found God, but he is insufficient. Everybody says sex is obscene. The only true obscenity is war. Henry Miller, you got that right. In 1942, June 22nd, the Pledge of Allegiance is formally adopted by the United States Congress. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation indivisible with liberty and justice for all. Ohio and Texas adopted their own state flag pledges of allegiance to be recited after this national one. Under God would be added in 1954, pressed by the Catholic Knights of Columbus, lobbyist, signed by Dwight D. Eisenhower because of the Cold War against those goddamn godless Russian heathens. So I'm a little bit mixed on the Pledge of Allegiance. So I think it's bullshit, as an iconoclast, you should not be forced to pray and worship to a piece of cloth. And Ohio and Texas, they adopted the state flag, pledges of allegiance. I only remember giving allegiance to one flag. So Kentucky, they dropped the ball on that, right? We're a federalist government, a federalist system. It's not just the U.S. government we got to listen to. It's also the goddamn governor. So I'm mixed about it because I like the man who wrote the Pledge of Allegiance. So they're going to actually say that it was written by Colonel George Bulk in 1887, and then Francis Bellamy had revised it in 1892, and then it was formally adopted in Congress as the pledge for Americans in 1942. So when eventually it becomes official, that's today, June 22nd, 1942. But Francis Bellamy, he's a Christian socialist. I like that. I like that he's a Christian socialist. Francis Bellamy is the one who pushed for it. He's the one that it seems like he would have had to have revised it. I mean, it's only one fucking sentence, so it's like, well, it was composed by him. What did he write that was so much different than this? But Francis Bellamy, he's a Baptist minister's son from upstate New York. He was educated in public schools, and he was a Christian socialist. He was a Christian socialist. One thing, all freedom-loving Americans should be able to understand not wanting to worship to the flag. But when Francis Bellamy was actually getting the Pledge of Allegiance popularized, they called them Bellamy salutes. So when they pledged allegiance to the flag, they pledged allegiance like this. If you've seen any of those old pictures where you have a bunch of American kids looking at an American flag giving the fucking Hitler Nazi salute, well, that used to be called the Bellamy salute. And that's what, he'd come up with the pledge, and the way that you're going to, indoctrinate good old-fashioned Americanism into all these new immigrants is through public schools. So it was totally intentional. That's exactly what, the point was. But it's just weird that the Bellamy salute is exactly the same thing as the Nazi salute. So is that where Hitler got it from? Hitler looked at America doing the Bellamy salutes with the pledge, and they said, hell, let's do the same fucking thing that they were doing. So because he's a Christian socialist, that just makes me like it a little bit better. I do love my country. I pledge allegiance to the flag. I don't know if I pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the United States of America, to the people, to the humanity and love, right? To the good people, to the little people, the general public, right? The masses. The Constitution I like, but the flag's okay. The flag's okay, but how can you declare allegiance to the state flag if you're living in Texas? You look at the Lone Star flag and you're like, I pledge allegiance to you, Lone Star flag, America flag. It's almost like the people that waved the Confederate flag with the American flag, even though those were those were enemy flags. Those fought against each other, right? So, the American flag is okay. It's a piece of cloth, but it's symbolic of something bigger. So, I don't know. I wish we had Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands and the Northern Marianas Islands, all the territories. I wish they were states. I think we should, if we would make the lands that we conquer, if we turn them into citizens, the Roman Empire at least would do that, make them citizens. And I think that there are nationals. I think Puerto Rico, you could fly to the U.S. and back, but they're not literally a state. And so, the Pledge of Allegiance, that's my 2 cents about the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the U.S. Okay, cool. To the Republic, I like that. The Republic is a democratic republic, right? So that's where a republic is democracy. A republic is the representative democracy. So you believe in democracy? Good. You believe in the republic? Somebody once said, we're not a democracy. It says republic right there. Do you know what a fucking republic is? A republic is where we don't have kings and queens, where we elect the representatives. So it's not a pure democratic system. It's not, true blue, pure direct democracy. But it is democratic. We do have elections, right? So, with one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. These are all good words. These are all good things. So, I don't know. I think that, if you want to say them in the morning, that's up to you, but you can't compel anybody to actually do it. I like that. June 22nd, 1990, Checkpoint Charlie is dismantled in Berlin. Although the wall was opened in November 1989 and the checkpoint booth removed June 22nd, 1990, the checkpoint remained an official crossing for foreigners and diplomats until German reunification during October 1990. So they said that the wall was opened November 89, the checkpoint booth removed June 22nd, 1990, but the checkpoint stayed. So Checkpoint Charlie was the booth there at the checkpoint spot, and then eventually the checkpoint stayed until Germany reunified in October of 1990. Then that's when the guardhouse was removed. So the booth was removed, and then the guardhouse was removed later on. So the checkpoint booth, which they nicknamed Checkpoint Charlie, was removed June 22nd, 1990. Checkpoint Charlie is now on display in the open-air museum of the Allied Museum in Berlin, Zehlendorf. There's a reason why Germany blends socialism and capitalism better than the United States and excels in both. Germany is better at socialism and better at capitalism. They produce more per person, per worker than what we do. And they have, universal health care, universal college. You could go get a spa for 2 weeks on the government's dime because they care about your health and your sanity, and sometimes you just need to relieve some stress, and so therefore they pay for your spa visit in Germany. So the reason why they're able to blend capitalism and communism so much better than we do, well, that's because we've only started socialism with Bernie, right? We just started talking about it, and then with Germany, half the country was 100% capitalist, the other half was 100% communist, and then when they combined, you had to have a mixture. There had to be a mixture, and everybody agrees on that. Everybody agrees that capitalism has no fucking heart, but then, socialism doesn't have the brain, so you need to, you need the brain, you need the heart and the brain, you need them both. So that's June 22nd, 1990. June 22nd, 1839, the Cherokee leaders, Major Ridge, John Ridge, and Elias Boudinot, were assassinated for signing the Treaty of New Echota. So the Treaty of New Echota resulted in the Trail of Tears. So these are Cherokee leaders that signed this Trail of Tears bullshit. Andrew Jackson, he's the reason why the Trail of Tears had happened. Supreme Court says it's illegal. You can't remove them. He was like, enforce it then, Supreme Court. Right? Suck a dick. And 2,000 to 6,000 Cherokee natives had died in the Trail of Tears. So, average it out. 4,000 Native Americans died during the Trail of Tears, during the displacement of the Cherokee from the south to Oklahoma. In the West, the Ross faction blamed Ridge and the other signers of the Treaty of New Echota for the 4,000 deaths along the Trail of Tears during the removal, as well as the loss of communal lands. In June 1839, June 22nd, Major Ridge, his son John, and nephew Elias Boudinot were executed in accordance with the Cherokee blood law by Cherokee of the Ross faction. They also tried to kill Elias's brother, Stan Waddy, but he survived. So according to the Cherokee blood law, you just have to kill the Ridges. Major Ridge, John Ridge, Elias Boudinot, they had to die. So that's just like, Napoleon Bonaparte and Henry Hudson. Both of these are oppressors. These motherfuckers signed, this deal. Fuck the Cherokee leaders, the Cherokee Nation over. Now they didn't have the communal lands or walking 4,000 people had to fucking die. How many of them were, babies and children who just didn't have, they were starving and they would, dehydrate. So I don't know. I feel it's kind of crazy that, they went after the Cherokee leaders who actually signed the treaty, but what about the white people that actually enforced this shit, right? We went ahead and put fucking Andrew Jackson on the face of the $20 bill. We love you, Jackson. Andrew Jackson, who gives a shit what you did to the Cherokee? And then he was a slave owner on top of that. June 22nd, 1868, Arkansas was readmitted to the Union. Why would we do this? Now we got the fucking Clintons, right? We could have left Arkansas. So this is after the Civil War. the southern states were eventually going to join back into the Union, but they had to, pass the test. They had to rewrite their Constitution and pass the 13th and 14th Amendment. So it happened in 1868, June 22nd. The Reconstruction Act had outlined the terms for readmission of the one-time rebel states. The measure divided the former Confederate states, save for Tennessee, into 5 military districts. It was enacted on March 2nd, 1867, after Congress had overridden President Andrew Johnson's veto. It required each former Confederate state to write a new constitution that needed to be approved by a majority of state voters, including the newly emancipated African Americans, before being considered for representation in Congress. In addition, each state was required to ratify the 13th and 14th Amendment to the Constitution before Congress acted. The Arkansas legislature, dominated by radical Republicans, had established universal male suffrage while disenfranchising former Confederates, mostly Democrats. It also enacted a free universal public education system. So, amazing. The Arkansas legislature went ahead and gave universal male suffrage to the black folks, and they said, Confederates, you had lost your right to vote. So, black folks were already voting, and then they had a free universal public education system. Free education in Arkansas. Nevertheless, racial violence ensued as the U.S. Army and the state militia battled the KKK, comprising mainly former Confederates. Powell Clayton, a Union general who had returned to Arkansas after the war, was elected governor. Powell Clayton kept the former Confederates from regaining political power. His opponent said he was just a damn carpetbagger. Since many gubernatorial appointees were former Northerners, Clayton also raised taxes. By the end of Reconstruction, railroads laid 662 miles of track with $9 million, the equivalent of $193 million in current dollars, in state assistance. On May 6, 1861, Arkansas had been the 9th state to join the Confederate States of America. Unlike South Carolina, Mississippi, Florida, Alabama, Georgia, Louisiana, and Texas, fucking Texas, fucking Mississippi, fucking Florida, all these states that have shitty fucking systems today. Texas, Arkansas had waited until after the Confederate attack on Fort Sumter, South Carolina, to join the Confederacy. So after the attack, after shit got real, that's when Arkansas was like, well, we got it, it's do or die time, and they was like, well, we'll die. And so they went ahead and joined the Confederacy. Charleston Harbor, April 12th, President Lincoln called for troops April 15th. So there was, those first, 5 or 6 or 7 or 8, South Carolina, Mississippi, Florida, Alabama, Georgia, Louisiana, Texas, 7 of the southern states seceded, before the shots at Fort Sumter. But then once the shots at Fort Sumter happened, Lincoln calls up 75,000 troops. 3 days afterwards, that means war looks likely. And so Arkansas said, do we want to be on the winner or the loser side? They went with the losers, okay? So that's interesting. Powell Clayton's the fucking man. Hell yeah, Powell Clayton. I'm glad that I got to know you. June 22nd, a holiday, a day of remembrance of the victims of the Great Patriotic War. This is a Belarus holiday. They also celebrate it in Russia and Ukraine. And this is, eventually we're going to find out that Hitler is going to invade the Soviet Union in 1941, June 22nd, with Operation Barbarossa, which shows how fucking stupid Hitler is, right? Remember when Napoleon went into Russia? What happened to Napoleon? Oh, yeah, ruined all of France. Hitler is going to do the same fucking thing. Okay, so he starts his invasion into Russia, the Soviet Union, with Operation Barbarossa. Hitler does. And then that's the reason why Croatia has the Anti-Fascism Day. They say, fuck the fascists, right? And it was because of this invasion. So he's going into Russia. He's also going down the Balkans, trying to go to the Caucasus to get that oil and, take all the raw materials and the raw resources, the human resources too. But this is why Belarus celebrates this day, June 22nd, as a day of remembrance of the victims of the Great Patriotic War. So Operation Barbarossa offensive happens. after Nazi Germany violated the non-aggression 1939 Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, the non-aggression, treaty. Hitler and Stalin said, "Let's not attack each other." Hitler said, "Okay, psych," and then invades Russia. And Stalin didn't even believe that he was actually doing it. He invaded the Soviet Union at dawn, and Belarus became independent eventually in 1991. So 50 years later, Belarus is its own country. 40% of Belarus is forested. There's 9.5 million people that live in Belarus. Belarus is the only European country that retains capital punishment in both law and practice. And also here, there's not much freedom in Belarus either. But they do remember the victims of the Great Patriotic War. So this is just interesting because we're going to have Croatia. We're going to have a couple things that, this invading the Soviet Union. So essentially, Hitler is fucking stupid. He is such a coward. He's a weak little fucking cunt. So Hitler invades the Soviet Union, which makes no damn sense whatsoever. And then after Pearl Harbor had happened, so he invades Russia before Pearl Harbor. Pearl Harbor happens, when does Pearl Harbor happen? I want to say it's like November or something, October. But Pearl Harbor happens, and that's what gets the U.S. into the war. But it was Japan. Japan was the one who dropped the bomb on Pearl Harbor, which was U.S. territory at the time. Wasn't even a state. And so the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor, and then Adolf Hitler says, yeah, we're part of that too. Yeah, we declare war on America. Why would you do that, Hitler? I mean, you're going to fight on Russia on one front, you're fighting British on the other, you're fighting... It's like he wants to fight everybody in the entire fucking world right now, right this second, not give a fuck what the fuck was going on. And I guess in a way, Bush, Jr., he did that, you're either with us or against us. So he declared war on the entire world. I think it was stupid for Hitler to do that. If you're going to take over the whole world, why wouldn't you just take over Poland, Czech Republic, like piece by piece? If you say, okay, I declare war on Britain, France, Belarus, Russia, United States. You just declare the war on everybody. Doesn't that piss off everybody? All the enemies are now going to unify to stop your dumbass. That's what happened with Hitler. So Japan attacks Pearl Harbor. Hitler says, "Oh, that was me," and he also, invades Soviet Union. And he's so fucking stupid. So he's like, "Fuck you, America. Fuck you, USSR." Hitler challenges the Harlem Globetrotters to a game of basketball, right? Dumb motherfucker. He challenges Bobby Fischer in a game of chess. He challenged Mark Wahlberg in a dick-off. This stupid motherfucker. He's got, a pee hole that goes bottom of his urethra. He only had one testicle, which is sad and unfortunate, but, to get onto this suicidal mission, to lead the entire nation of a country on a suicidal mission because you got fucked up genitalia, that's fucked up. That's fucked up. So, y'all remember Jesse Owens in the 1936 Olympics? How fucking a badass was that, right? He's talking about the greatest race, and here Jesse Owens is like fucking running circles around everybody. So June 22nd, 1941, Hitler wanted to conquer Russia so that he could repopulate it by Germans. He wanted some space for the Germans, and he also wanted to use the Slavs as a slave labor force for the Axis war effort, and he wanted to seize the oil reserves in the Caucasus. I don't know, the land of Caucasia, right, in the Caucasus region. Caucasus. And then the agricultural resources throughout the Soviet territories. So Winston Churchill, he says, the Russian danger is our danger, and the danger of the United States, just as the cause of any Russian fighting for his hearth and home as the cause of free men and free peoples in every quarter of the globe. So Winston Churchill called this right. So good job with Winston Churchill. He even included the United States in it, right? Hey, U.S., you want to jump in this anytime soon? When was fucking, it feels like in November, but that's, that was, JFK. JFK got caught, killed November 23rd, 1963. So, Pearl Harbor attack. This is on December 7th. So it's at the end of the year. It's absolutely at the end of the year. So Hitler says, we're invading Russia, and the U.S. is like, no, we're still not in it. No, go ahead. And it was Japan that bombs us, and then Hitler's just a dumb fuck. He just takes credit for, he was like, if Hitler was alive during 9/11, he would be like, yep, that was me, and we declare war on you now. Why are you doing this, Hitler? Why are you, if you want to play chess, right, why declare war on everybody? I declare war on you, and you, and you, and you, and you, and fuck you, and fuck your mother, and fuck you. That, probably unify the opposition against you, and you probably lose, Hitler. You probably lose. Oh yeah, you fucking killed yourself like the loser fucking cunt you are. Fuck you, Hitler. So Croatia is a European country, right, populated with 4.3 million souls who all have universal health care. Isn't that nice? Croatia's got universal health care. So today is a holiday for Croatia. It's the Anti-Fascist Struggle Day. So the Anti-Fascist Struggle Day, national holiday, celebration in Croatia, celebrated June 22nd. It marks the beginning of the uprising of Croatian anti-fascist partisans against German and Italian occupying forces that started with the forming of the first Sisak People's Liberation Partisan Detachment on June 22nd, 1941, near Sisak, Croatia. So because of Hitler's fucking invasion into Russia, the Belarusians now have to, we got to stand up or our country's going to be lost. There was some mixture because the Soviets, they were being liberated by the Soviets, so there was some mixture. But eventually they saw that the Nazis were just as oppressive as the Soviet communists were. So same thing with Croatia. So Brezovica Forest. So in the Brezovica Forest, this is where the first Sisak People's Liberation Partisan Detachment was formed. The first detachment of the Yugoslav partisans was established in occupied Yugoslavia in the Brezovica Forest near Sisak. Today's Croatia, June 22nd, 1941, the day Germany invaded the Soviet Union. There were 79 members, mainly Croats, with the exception of one notable Serb woman, Nada Dimic. So Nada Dimic was one of the original 79 anti-fascists who were fighting against fucking Hitler, and then they were commanded by Vladimir Janjic-Capo. So Vladimir Janjic-Capo, Nada Dimic were two of the 79 anti-fucking-fascist fighters that formed themselves in the Brezovica Forest near Sisak. This event marked the start of armed anti-fascist resistance in the occupied Yugoslavia. And so today, June 22nd, is commemorated in Croatia every year as a public holiday called the Anti-Fascist Struggle Day. The Anti-Fascist Struggle Day. Janko Bobetko, who 50 years later became one of the most prominent Croatian generals in the Croatian War of Independence, was one of the founding members of this unit. So Janko Bobetko, Vladimir Janjic-Capo, and Nada Dimic, a Serb woman, right? Mostly Croats, but there was one Serb woman, the Nada Dimic. So, the Croatian War of Independence, there's a connection with Janko Bobetko. The central ceremony marking Anti-Fascist Struggle Day, which was marked on Sunday in the Brezovica Forest near Sisak, where the first armed anti-fascist unit, the Sisak Partisan Unit, was formed. June 22nd, 1941, was attended by numerous state delegations and representatives of the diplomatic corps in Croatia. The first Sisak Partisan Detachment formed in the Brezovica Forest near Sisak, June 22nd, 1941. Of the 77 fighters who set up the first partisan unit, 38 survived the war. So they're saying 77, I saw 79, but only 39. So the majority of those who had actually started the anti-fascist struggle are going to perish. They're going to die. But if you fight, you could lose, but if you don't fight, you lost already. So of those 77, because of the sacrifices of the 40, 38 was able to survive. So happy You know, anti-fascist struggle day. Happy anti-fascist struggle day. I love this fucking holiday. Fucking fascists. Fuck the fascists. Nobody in America talks about fascism. Nobody. Nobody in America.